I present Nadia Lopez for the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa. Trustees Rick Moran and Maureen Robinson will assist with placing the hood on the shoulders of Nadia Lopez.
Thank you. It's a little housekeeping here.
As you will soon discover, there is a wonderful, a truly inspiring connection between our next two honorees, Nadia Lopez and Brandon Stanton. We honor first one of our own, Nadia Lopez. Nadia grew up over the bridge in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, the only child of a Guatemalan woman who worked as a nursing assistant and a man from Honduras who worked as a photographer. Although her parents were far from wealthy, they felt that a good education was essential for Nadia. And so it came to pass that Nadia earned her bachelor's degree in nursing from Wagner College in 1998. After her daughter was born in 2001, however, Nadia was drawn to teaching. Encouraged by the nursing faculty at Wagner and with the help of two fellow Wagner graduates, Nadia Lopez became a teacher through the NYC Teaching Fellows Program. Eventually, the Wagner alum earned her master's degree in education from Long Island University. Then, fulfilling her dream of bringing quality education to young men and women from underprivileged neighborhoods, Nadia Lopez founded and became the principal of Mott Hall Bridges Academy, a public middle school in Brownsville, Brooklyn. The academy is located in one of the roughest and poorest areas of the city. In fact, virtually every student who attends her academy lives below the poverty line. Nonetheless, Mott Hall Bridges Academy, with just over 200 students in grades 6 through 8, continues to inspire those students with a quality curriculum focused on science, technology, engineering, math, and art. As Lopez explains, quote, "I wanted to create a learning institution that shows our scholars why they matter and why they too can become successful. For me, it is a labor of love." Because most of the students at the academy have never been out of Brownsville neighborhoods, Nadia Lopez began to include in her curriculum regular visits to local colleges so that her students might become aware of pathways to a more promising future. It is in this context that the story of Nadia Lopez takes a surprising and wonderful turn as her life intersects with the life of our next honoree, Brandon Stanton, founder of the popular blog Humans of New York. It happened this way. While walking through Brownsville one day, taking photographs and interviewing New Yorkers, Brandon Stanton came upon 13-year-old Vidal Chastanet. When asked who in his life had inspired him the most, the young Vidal surprisingly replied that it was his principal at Mott Hall Bridges Academy, Nadia Lopez. After interviewing Chastanet, Stanton featured Lopez and her staff on his blog. He and Lopez met and spoke of what Nadia wanted to do for her students. They then began an online fundraising campaign for the school with the goal of taking Nadia's sixth graders on a trip to Harvard University, showing them what could be possible. The readers of Stanton's blog were so moved that the campaign not only met its goal of raising $100,000, but moreover, within 2 months, the campaign actually raised $1.4 million from more than 51 donors. And with that, Mott Hall Bridges Academy and Nadia Lopez became national emblems of hope and promise. Money not used for that trip will go toward paying for future trips to colleges, and $700,000 has created a scholarship fund available to Academy graduates. With her well-deserved popularity came equally well-deserved recognition. Nadia was asked to speak at the Harvard Global Initiative Conference. She was also named one of only 8 American finalists for the very prestigious Global Teachers Prize. She has been featured on The Ellen Show. She has been featured in the New York Times. She was, in fact, invited to the White House to meet President Obama. It has been a wonderful journey thus far for Nadia Lopez, and we here at Wagner College are very proud indeed to have been a part of that journey. Congratulations, Nadia, and a very heartfelt thank you from us all.
Let me just read this. With the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Wagner College and the laws of the state of New York, I hereby confer upon you, Nadia Lopez, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, and thereby declare that your name forever be inscribed for a second time on the roll of Wagner College's most esteemed alumni. Congratulations, Nadia. I'll take that.
Good morning. I'm the principal. Good morning. Thank you so much, President Gerasi, and the entire staff, invited guests, fellow honorees, parents, and of course, all of the family members, friends, and the class of 2016. I didn't really write anything. I wanted to just take in this moment because I wanted what I wanted to say to be authentic. And I wanted to be part of what I've been listening in terms of all of the great and dynamic work that's happening here at Wagner. I always thank God for opportunities like this and the blessing of just standing here. I remember my senior year being in high school. I'd never really heard about Wagner College. I'd never visited Staten Island much. But it took one, I'm from Brooklyn. I kind of stayed on the Brooklyn side. But it took one visit, and I felt like I was home. And I had convinced myself that I would be a graduate of this school. But I didn't know how I would get here because in my junior year of high school, I literally went from a 90 average student to a 65 average student, having failed 3 classes. And it wasn't because I didn't care. The actuality was that I was going through what sometimes adolescents go through. My parents had separated a couple of years earlier, and I was having a tough time. And so the kid who did exceptionally well in class before, inside I felt like I was becoming invisible. And I guess by trying to fail, I wanted someone to ask me what was wrong. I wanted someone to care. I wanted someone to just say, I'm here for you, and to listen. But no one did. And it took one teacher, my high school US history teacher, Mr. Pearson, and I think I was probably by February or March, he realized that I would answer all the questions in class, and I knew so much about US history, but I would never do his work. And it was something about the conversation that we had that I literally fell in his arms and I started to cry, and I said to him, I'm just having a hard time and no one's listening. No one's been paying attention. And it was in that conversation that Mr. Pearson said to me, well, I think we should get your mom in here, and I think we should have a conversation, but you should never feel like you were alone. Fast forward my senior year of high school, I had to figure out how was I going to convince that missions officer here that I was worth taking a shot on. And I said to him, the only thing I have is my story. That my mother was from Guatemala and my father was from Honduras, and they didn't have a formal education. But I was willing to be the best graduate that they would ever have at Wagner College. I promised him that. Just give me one chance. And I would be here, I would study, and I would work hard because I had done it before. And I guess he was convinced. And I got here. And they actually gave me some funding because at that time, my mother was a nurse's assistant, which is why I went into nursing, because she always told me, I don't want you to be the one who has to take orders like me. I want you to be the one who has the white outfit on and stand with pride, because I worked too hard for you to be second class. So part of me stayed in the nursing program as long as I did and worked extremely hard. Shout out to the nursing department. With the help of Professor Trapello, who was sassy when she came here, and she's still sassy, and Professor Tooker and Professor Ahern, Dr. Bakita, and everyone else in the nursing department that was just amazing. They pushed me through, and I understood that holistic teaching and learning was the only way that you could thrive in this world. And so I learned the basis of that, but in my heart, I knew that I did not want to be a nurse, but I knew I would touch the lives of so many, and I didn't really know how. So like many of you sitting here on the day of graduation, I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't know how I was going to break my mother's heart and tell her that I did not want to be a nurse. But I knew that she had instilled in me that I had to follow my passion and I had to be something great. So with great honor and pride, I gave her her degree. And I said, I have to follow my heart. But somehow I ended up at Verizon, the phone company, and she was not convinced that that was me following my heart. To be honest, I was just trying to follow the paycheck while I figured out my heart. And so it wasn't until I had my own daughter, Sine, that I realized that I wanted to be the very thing that had changed my life, which is an educator. And I followed along that line. And I went into becoming a teaching fellow, and I became a special education teacher, which allowed me to somehow use my nursing skills and be the person who listens to children and not just look at a diagnosis, but understand what they're really feeling and thinking. And so fast forward, I became the principal in a community that often people don't respect. I'm the principal of children who have become invisible, that people don't listen to their needs and the fact that they went hungry the night before, or they don't have the money to sustain a family, or they just can't read and write because no one has taught them those lessons because of the schools that have failed them, the adults who are around them who haven't cared. And so what I do is I do like what I've learned here at Wagner. I've created a second home. I've created a space where children are honored. Being here at Wagner, I remember being a resident assistant of D1 and Towers. I'm a little biased. It's one of the livest dorms on campus. But I loved every minute of it. I love being a resident assistant. I've learned so many lessons. And now that I am a principal, I get to bring my scholars, my graduates, in grades 9, 10, and 11th grade. We came here 3 weeks ago, and it was one of the proudest moments I've had. It wasn't about going to Harvard. It wasn't about them going to Yale. It was about coming back to the very place that I had earned my bachelor's, coming back to the very place that made me feel like I truly did matter. So I say this to the graduates. You may not know what you want to do right now, and some of you may have a clear idea. Be like the humans of New York. Take care of one another. Take care of this world. Be something great. Deposit something to help humanity. To the family members and friends who are here, their journey is not over. You have to continue to be their champions. They may make decisions, they may change their minds, but something great is lying ahead, and you have to encourage them to follow their passions. I am a proud Seahawk. And I owe it to so many of you who are on the stage, so many of you who are in the audience. I get to say thank you to my mother who has given me life. Thank you for always coming here with a check to pay for those registration fees and those nursing books. And to my cousin who stepped in as that father figure who would help me unload and load and unload and load. I thank you because you two were my village. I hope you all enjoy this moment, take it in, love it. And when you have the chance to come back and stand on this stage, be grateful. Thank you.